Hello everyone, I'm making this video to talk about the latest Mass Effect Andromeda trailer, which has been out for some time, it's just that I watched it today, and in it they talk about primarily combat profiles. So that's what I'm going to talk about as well, and some concerns I may have with this system. Now, some of these things we could extrapolate from previous trailers, but now they've said it all. So you have three types of skills: combat, biotic, and tech. And you can invest in any skill that you want. You get points. I'm not exactly sure how, it has to be through leveling, but I mean, there is a level 70 character here that has 120 invested points and what seem to be another 64 points, so 184 points at level 70. Now, I don't know what that means. Is level 70 a lot? It seems a lot initially, but who knows? So anyway, you invest your points into whatever you want, and then eventually you get the ability to choose a profile, and you choose profiles based on the amount of points that you've invested into different skills. So for example, if you invested heavily into combat, you can get the soldier profile. If you invested heavily into biotics, you can get the adept. The sentinel is probably soldier slash engineer, and the vanguard is soldier slash adept, and the infiltrator probably soldier slash engineer once again, something like that. And finally, the Explorer is for everything basically. It requires you to have invested points into all three types of skills. And those are the profiles. So far so good. Now, what begins to worry me a little is the next point when they talk about favorites. So you can have 4 favorites, and these favorites are essentially loadouts. There are sets of 3 skills in each favorite that you can switch between in real time. And the only downside when you switch is that they go on cooldown. But they're not only sets of skills, but you can also assign a different profile to the favorites. So not only can you switch between another set of skills, but you can also switch your profile in combat. In the trailer, for example, we see 4 different profiles, and judging by the names, they're not these basic names. They seem to be like profiles within profiles. Like the Initiative Commando is probably a type of soldier, and so on. I mean, the sheer fact that you can play in a way that you have specialized into so many different things and still be effective is a little worrisome. It just seems to me that there should be a balance between, on one hand, you shouldn't be extremely strong if you are really if your specialization is extremely narrow, and on the other hand, you should also avoid specializing all over the place, and that is exactly what we seem to see here. Now again, I don't know how many points you're getting. The game could be set up in a way that you simply get so many points that it's physically impossible to have a really narrow specialization, and you always have to pick at least 2 profiles. And if that's the case, I mean, I don't know, it could work, but it seems a little alarming to me. I'm not saying that I hate it or something. Obviously, I have to try it first, and we don't know everything. But right now, it seems like this guy can switch, like in Star Wars: The Old Republic terms, for example, it can switch between, say, Sith Assassin, Juggernaut, Sniper, and Power Tech in real time, and that just seems weird. So those are my thoughts about the combat profiles and all. Now, they also show squad mates here. Maybe I should talk about that a little bit. We see that we're going to have 6 squad mates, and initially I thought, oh, that's not a lot. And when I looked at the comments in the trailer, so many people seem to agree with me. Not quite as many as the people who think that companions are ugly, but still. So 6 companions, is it bad? Well, first off, we don't know how many characters we're going to be interacting with. If you look at the game like, say, Mass Effect 2, you have something like twice as many squad mates. But if you look at something like Mass Effect 3, you have just about 6. I mean, let's say 6. It's about there. But then you also have a lot of temporary companions. Those that you meet and they hang out for a mission or 2, or maybe they stay on the ship for a while, and you get a reasonable amount of interaction with them, but they're not permanent squad mates. So we may have something like that here, and I assume so, because they've said, if you remember, that this game's gonna have more romances than ever, or something like that. And if that is the case, well, I'm not sure how it's gonna work with 6 companions, even if the Krogan is romanceable. I would assume that while we have 6 squad mates, there will be a reasonable amount of more characters to interact with. Should I address the appearance issue, the ugliness issue that so many people seem to be having? I don't mind, honestly. Like, you know, what was her name? She seemed alright in that trailer when they were kissing, so you know, she's fine. I don't know, I don't mind the way the characters look. It's important how well they're developed, in my opinion, not that much how they look. So there we go. That was all I had to say. Thank you very much for watching, and until next video, which will be tomorrow, and it's going to be Witcher 3, stay tuned and be good.